What is up, everyone? Happy Fantasy Friday. I usually do a fantasy book review every week, but I just didn't read enough. I'm close to done with Way of Kings, which is huge, and I've just picked up too many books that are too big. So instead, I'm doing a top 10 list of my favorite board games and just talking about, nerdy board games. This is my other very nerdy vice. I'm going to be propping up games on board games over here as I talk about them. And as you can see, there's board games on my bookshelf. I've got some back behind the camera here. My camera's actually being held up, like lodged between two board games. So it's actually very possible that I'm a bigger board game nerd than I am even a book nerd, if that's possible. But yeah, if you're new to board gaming, leave a comment down below. And if maybe you've played Catan or Ticket to Ride or something and don't really know where to go from here, some of the games on this list are actually pretty good places to go. Some are maybe a little bit complex, but yeah. Anyway, let's get into it. Boom. First, number 10. We're counting down top 10. Pandemic, very thematic to our current situation right now, I suppose. This is the only cooperative game on my list. I felt like I needed to put a cooperative game on the list because I do like them. I just don't love them. I've got too much competitive spirit in me, I think. But Pandemic is here because it's very easy for new board gamers to pick up. It was the first cooperative game that I played, and I liked it a lot. This one, some people don't like it as much who are more into board gaming. And that's kind of because they've figured out the puzzle. And after you play this maybe like 10 times, it feels like you've encountered every situation. But I like playing it with new people. I like asking them questions and seeing them figure it out for the first time. And I try, like, even though it's a cooperative game, I try not to like be like the alpha gamer or whatever people call it and take control of the game from the new people. Because I like watching them learn it. Obviously, I like teach them the rules. I like everything. And if they ask, I'll definitely help and stuff. But, that's why I like it personally. Up next, Queen Domino. This is another good game for like newer people to board gaming. Because everyone knows what dominoes is. And basically, you're trying to build like a kingdom with your dominoes. And there are different tiles that do different things and have like different levels of like commonness to them. So like wheat and grassland tiles are very common, so it's very easy to build like a bigger area of those. And if you have a bigger area, that's more points, so it's better. Or you can go for a different route, which is like more rare tiles, like mines and like, what is that, wastelands? I forget. But yeah, so there's less of those on the domino squares, but they're worth more points. So it's like beneficial to, if you can get like a 2 or 3 of those together, that's great. And you are competing for tiles with other people. So if you get like a worse tile, like a grassland tile or something, that means next round you'll get first pick. So sometimes taking like a worse tile is better to get a first pick next round. Also, there are buildings, which just adds like a level of complexity. Some of the buildings give you extra points if you have extra grasslands. So, or like, extra water spaces. So a lot of times you try to do that. And there's ways of getting money with knights and stuff. You can burn down buildings before people can build them with the dragon, which is pretty funny. So you can kind of mess with other people, but it's mostly like everyone's on their own board. Oh, and like you can like steal the tile from other people if you're picking first. But yeah, I like it. It's very simple, but like it gives me like a lot of like thinking throughout the game. You never quite know what to expect. Like, should I go for the good tile now, or should I wait till next turn when there might be a better tile for me? And try to get first pick this turn to get like the good tile next round. I just love that. And I can introduce the game easily to everyone, so that's great. Number 8. This is a small little card game called Port Royal. Again, very good for newer board gamers. I like this game a lot. It doesn't take up too much table space. I even played this with my mom on like airplane tray tables. And, there's definitely like a time and place for little card games. If you're like waiting 15 minutes or whatever, you can just pull this out. And it's pretty easy to teach people. And there's like various strategies you can go for. Basically, there are two types of cards that come up. There are boats that you can trade with to get more money. And then there are people that you can recruit with the money that you like earned from trading with the boats. So either get money or buy something. And the people you can buy all have interesting abilities, like getting more money from trading with ships from different countries. There are 5 countries. This is like Spain, Dutch, America, British, and France, I think. There's also a push your luck aspect to this game. So if you flip 2 ships from the same country, boom, your turn ends. So if you flip over a Spanish ship, you might want to just trade with the Spanish ship, because if you flip over another Spanish ship, your turn ends and you're invaded. So definitely like push the luck is fun. So yeah, like pushing your luck is great for newer people, because even if you if it's your first time playing and you don't know what you're doing and you're like maybe a little behind, sometimes you can catch up by just pushing your luck very hard. And every game of this is so close, even with new people. I think that's why I like it a lot. And just like the shortness of it and the lack of table space it requires. So yeah, number 8, Port Royal. Number 7, oh my gosh, this thing is huge. All right. This is my first worker placement game on the list. Worker placement games are my favorite board game genre. And oh my gosh. I've got to hold this box. Okay. And this is my best introduction to worker placement game that I have, or at least my favorite introduction to worker placement game. Basically, what you'll have is a board with spots. Everyone has like 3 workers, for example, and you can put your workers on any of these spots. So, let's take Lords of Waterdeep as an example. This game is in the Dungeons & Dragons universe, and it's actually printed by Dungeons & Dragons. Basically, the theme is you are the lords of the realm, and you are the people who employ the warriors, clerics, mages, whoever, to go on quests. So you'll get different quest cards that you can complete for points, and the quest will require like 4 warriors or something, or like 2 clerics and a mage. So going back to what a worker placement game is, to complete quests, you'll need workers. There are different spaces on the board that you can recruit workers from. Like warriors from, or rogues from, or clerics from. You can go to a different space to recruit warriors. But let's say I go first, I go recruit warriors. That means the next people in the round, they cannot recruit warriors until the end of the round. The element of strategy within worker placement games is, hey, I need warriors, I need rogues, and maybe I want to build a building or something. And then I look around at the other people. Well, what do they need? Well, I see that other people may want to build a building because they have a lot of money. So I'm going to build a building first and then let everyone else go, and then hope that the building, or that like warriors or something else I want to do, is available for next time. So yeah, I love the theme of this. I love just how easy it is for people to pick up. It's not like super easy, but as far as like worker placement games go, it's pretty easy for people to pick up. And yeah, there's this thing when people play their first worker placement game, and I experienced this many years ago at this point, but once you play a worker placement game, you're like, oh, I get it now. Like everything clicks. And that actually applies across like the genre of worker placement games. Like every game is different, but once you get the concept of, okay, you have this many workers, they can go here, 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 or wherever, it just like opens you up to be able to play so many more games that are phenomenal games. I've got like 3 more worker placement games on this list, which is great. Here's the expansion, which I think is great. It adds a lot to the base game if you're just getting like maybe a bit tired of the base game. Number 6, Map Maker, the gerrymandering game. I just call it gerrymandering. If you don't know what gerrymandering is, it's where like politicians redistrict areas to be favorable to them. And a lot of times the areas like just simply don't make sense. If you look up like most crazy looking gerrymandered districts on Google, you'll see like, like 3-legged giraffes that are, holding a palm tree straight up with their mouth or something. Like that's what they look like. It's not like, oh, here's like a square district that makes sense. No, they're just craziness. And this game illustrates why politicians do that very well. It's very thematic in that way, and it's very easy for like a newer person to pick this game up and understand both what's going on in the game and within the world around them. And like the game itself is phenomenal. Basically, you just fence off areas, and each area has like a certain electoral vote number. So let's say I'm blue. So like one district might be +2 blue. And then let's say my opponent is red. So let's say there's a district of 4 hexes together. You would basically add up whose districts have more. So let's say 2 of the 4 districts have a +10 red, there's one in, and a +5 red. And let's say my blue districts have a +1 blue and a +8 blue. So red's 15, blue is 9, so red would get 1 point, basically. Or they would get 1 district, and then then the most districts at the end wins. So, yeah. But yeah, I mean, obviously, warning, people, I mean, you guys know I don't mind talking about politics, but if you don't like talking about politics, yeah, definitely maybe check out Queen Domino, which I talked about already, or I can give you like other recommendations that are less like politically divisive, even though most like normal people don't like gerrymandering. So it's like less controversial. But I mean, there's the donkeys and the elephants on the front of the game. So like, if you really want no politics whatsoever, then like maybe not this, even though it's still a good game. Okay, yeah. So we're at number 5. This game also has a great theme. I just love the theme. Oh my gosh. All right. And a lot of times for me, theme isn't like the biggest thing, but I know it is for other people. And I like when games have good themes, but they don't have to. This one is great, though. So, Castles of Mad King Ludwig. King Ludwig was a king somewhere in Eastern Europe in the 1500s or something. This is like a fake history lesson with Greg right now. No, but like this guy would build crazy castles. So, and basically in this game, you're like his interior designer. For lack of a better term. So there'll be like rooms you can pick from, and they give like different numbers of points based on different things like what they're next to. And there are different types of rooms that do different things. So there are like outdoor rooms, which give you extra money to buy more rooms. There's like food rooms that give you, I think they give you like an extra action so you can make more rooms if you have the money. Let's see, there's like bedrooms. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of different strategies, like going for different rooms, and it feels like you're really like, it feels like every game of this you play, you have a very unique experience, and just a very unique castle at the end. Also, there are like basement rooms and like very, very strange like torture chambers and stuff. This is probably the hardest game on my list so far to teach to new people, just because there's a lot more going on. And then every round of buying rooms, everyone gets to buy 1 room on a round, one person sets like the value of all the rooms, but then they get to pick rooms last. So they might look around and be like, oh, this person wants basement rooms. We're going to make this basement room very expensive. But if they make the room they want extremely cheap and someone else wants that room, then the person who's like setting the price won't be able to get the room because someone else will probably buy it. So yeah, that's just like a very fun game mechanic that I like. And yeah, most points wins. It's kind of like a little point salad-ish, which is a term that board gamers use to describe just like a hodgepodge way of getting points. But basically, rooms give you points in different ways depending on like adjacency with other rooms. And it's a little weird, but yeah, most points wins. It's fun. Oh, and then there are like goals that everyone is going for. So maybe like most basement rooms is a goal. So if you have the most of those, you get like an extra 8 points. Yeah, very point salad-ish, but very fun game. I love it. All right, this is 4. Okay, 4. Terraforming Mars. Oh man, when I played this game, it was amazing. Oh, by the way, if you're new to board gaming, do not pick up this game. And that pretty much goes for the next 3 games as well, but to a lesser extent than this one. This one's probably my least beginner-friendly game on the list, and probably my most beloved game on the list by huge board game nerds, even though I know some people who don't like it, who are very into board games. And they say it like kind of feels like the same game after you play it like 5 or 6 times. To me, not at all. There's a mechanic in this game where you card draft, which is basically I have 4 cards, I pick the one I want, and I pass the cards to my person on the left, and everyone else does that at the same time. And then I get 3 cards from the person on my right, and then I pick one of those and pass those. If the card drafting thing sounds appealing to you, but you don't want like a very complex game, I would check out Sushi Go Party or 7 Wonders. But anyway, this game, everyone's a different corporation terraforming Mars and basically trying to make it like livable. And yeah, everyone's competing, but then there's this other thing where like everyone's also contributing to Mars being terraformed. So if I make a forest, that like raises the oxygen level on the planet for everyone, even though it's my forest, and I'll get points for the forest at the end of the game. And basically there are 3 things that everyone's kind of working on together, but not really. Getting enough oxygen in the atmosphere, raising the temperature enough, and getting enough water on the planet. And once all those 3 things are done, that like triggers the end of the game, which is pretty cool. And most of the unique things in this game to get the most points at the end of the game come from the cards themselves. And there are different strategies with cards. You can colonize the moons of Mars with some of the cards. You can try to get animals, which give you like points in different ways. You can build cities, and like cities give you points in different ways too. And yeah, I it's been too long since I've played this game, to be honest. So I like don't remember the cards, but I'm looking forward to opening it up again and just like rediscovering it. But yeah, I mean, I could play this game like 5 days in a row and I would love it. There's just a lot of thinking involved. And like it's not too mean in terms of how competitive people are with each other. You could definitely like mess with people, but it's not like too much. All right, I was really back and forth in my number 3 and number 2 on this video. If you ask me tomorrow, my 3 and 2 will probably be different, but number 3, Viticulture, which is a game where you own a winery in like southern Italy or wherever, northern Italy. Where do they make wine? France? I don't know. So yeah, like I talked about with Lords of Waterdeep, this is another worker placement game. So there are different things that need to be done on the vineyard. And you can go with like different strategies in this game. You can host tours to earn money to help you like get more things. You can build like various buildings that help you, like the trellis. some wines you need like special equipment to make. And yeah, you have like little chips that you put on the board to indicate like a wine's value. So let's say you have a red wine that is a value of 2, and then you get to the end of a round, all your wines go up 1 value. So like they're aging. It's cool. It's thematic. And basically you win by filling contracts. So let's say one of your contracts requires a 4 value white wine and like a 6 value red wine. You may have to wait for some of your lower ranked red wines to age into being like rank 6. And yeah, there's a lot of cool things like that. Also, there's 2 seasons where you can place workers, the summer and the winter. And the summer is like planting grapes, buying new seeds, stuff like that. And then the winter is like filling contracts and sending out wine. And yeah, there's cards in this game too. And, a lot of coolness. The cards can be a little bit variable. Some cards are like so pointless. Maybe like the one criticism of this game and why it's lower than 2 other worker placement games is the cards just, the level of like balance with them is doesn't seem equal. All right, this is a massive, massive game. Another worker placement game. This used to be called like the Age of Empires game or whatever, and then which is like a video game. But then it got reprinted to this because they didn't have rights to Age of Empires anymore, or Microsoft didn't give them rights or whatever. So they made it more a generic colonization game. Obviously, in some of my book reviews on nonfiction books, I'll talk about being sort of anti-imperialist, which goes against like the general spirit of this game, which is about colonizing the world. But, I just like the game. And even people who are like anti-colonialist and anti-imperialist like myself don't really find that to be an issue. And I think that's because this stuff happened, like this game takes place when America was being colonized, which was centuries ago. But yeah, it's great. There's different countries you can play as, which gives every playthrough kind of a different feel. And yeah, again, it's a worker placement game, so you can get trade goods with workers. You can send colonists over to the new world. You can get boats. You can buy buildings. There's always like a building buying mechanic in like a lot of these types of games, and the buildings are fairly unique and do different things. And the way like those buildings enter the game and are dealt out into the game makes every game feel original and unique. And yeah, this is the only game on the list that has like special workers. There's like regular workers, and you can get these special workers if you have the right buildings, or there's like places on the board you can go to get special workers. And yeah, so you've got like the missionaries who can convert people, so they count as like extra people. You can send over soldiers, which obviously can kill people of your opponent's colony. You can like declare battles or wars if you want to have like a majority in an area. Usually people don't declare wars in this. I think I've seen like one war in like 8 or 9 of these games. Battles, which only happen in one area, those are more common. There's merchants that are another type of special worker that give you more money. And there's a few others that I'm blanking on right now. But yeah, it's fun. Like different special workers do different things when you go to different places that are like more beneficial than just sending a regular worker. I love that concept. I need to play like another worker placement game that has that concept. I don't think I like actually own any others. And I know some games have been coming out with that mechanic. Board game nerds, if you're watching this, let me know in the comments. What other worker placement game has unique special power workers? All right, number 1, the Manhattan Project, Energy Empire. So there was a board game just called the Manhattan Project that was also a worker placement game. But then this came out. To me, this one's superior. I like it more. And yeah, this game, basically everyone's a different country again. I love that concept. You're trying to create an energy empire. you can get like different types of energy. You can get nuclear energy, coal, geothermal, which is like dams and windmills, wind farm energy. And there's like pros and cons to those different energies. So every person has their own player board. And so let's say you're getting energy from coal. Well, that will lead to your environment having more pollution. The more pollution your environment has, the less points you get. And points are a good thing. Like in many games, most points wins, obviously. But like the green renewable dice give you less energy, but they don't put as much pollution into your environment. This game came out like 10 years ago, before a lot of the strives we've gotten in renewable energy. I don't even think there's solar. Oh no, the green dice is solar/wind. Okay. Obviously, like outside of this game's context, I think we should strive for, being nice to our planet's environment, transitioning to renewable energy as fast as possible. Because as I'm filming this, like, the entire West Coast is on fire. But anyway, I digress. This game isn't too hard for new people to get into, but with the caveat, it's very difficult to learn, like self-teach yourself some of these harder games. Like, you can do it and there's videos on YouTube and stuff, but ideally, like, some board game nerd like me teaches you if you don't know how to play them. This is another game with different cards being buildings, and the cards are what adds a lot to the variance. Also, another cool thing about this game, so in other worker placement games, if I go somewhere, no one can go there till the end of the round. But in this game, there's energy. So if I go there and then someone else wants to go to the place that I just went to, they can stack a worker on top of energy. And as long as their stack is higher than all the other stacks on that space, they can go to that space. But it costs energy, and energy is useful for activating buildings and doing other things. So it's like a high cost, but you can, a lot of times you can do things that normally you couldn't do. I think that's what I like a lot about this game. Some people don't like that there's dice, and that's how you get your energy. To me, the dice have such low variance that I just don't mind them. And I like the little variance that they do add. So yeah, for me, number one game, this is something that I can very easily pull out after I teach someone Lords of Waterdeep and they've played that a few times and maybe they want to learn a different game. Or maybe I'm just like sick of playing Lords of Waterdeep with them. This I like more. It's kind of like a great second worker placement game to introduce people to. And oh my gosh, I could just rave about this for hours. But I won't. Because I have to go back to working from home, which oh my gosh, I'm super late. Okay, I'm going to film the closing to this later. Hey, sorry about that. I just want to film a proper closing to this video. So if you don't know who I am, I review books, usually fantasy books. But as you can tell, I love board games too. So maybe like once a year around my birthday. My birthday is the 25th, so it's like a week from today. But yeah, maybe once a year I'll do a board game talk video type thing, just for fun. I know it's definitely like outside the purview of my usual things I like to talk about. But yeah, if you're a fantasy reader or read nonfiction or whatever, yeah, definitely subscribe to my channel. We can talk about books, and you can join my Discord server where we can talk about books, or I'll add a board game tab if you're interested in talking about board games or want some sort of board game advice. Maybe you're new to board games and like this is opening your eyes to board games. Yeah, I'm definitely down to chat. And like maybe you want something to do because like bars are closed and stuff, and you want like a good 2-player game or something for you and your significant other, or for like maybe you and your kids, or whatever. I can give like pretty good targeted board game advice. Actually, there was a time when I wanted to literally like open my own like small board gaming shop. Honestly, I'm very glad I didn't, because I probably would have done that like last year or something. And then I would have had to close, and I would have lost like my entire life savings. Oh my god, it would have been a disaster. So I dodged a bullet there. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe. See you guys.